Today you join me at the Porsche headquarters here in Atlanta, Georgia for the exciting new reveal of the second generation Porsche Macan. Only there's a catch. There isn't a Macan here. The big reveal is going on in Singapore, and they had us here at the Experience Center in Atlanta so we could experience a little bit more of what the car is about, even though they don't have a physical model here. So they hooked us up with some VR goggles. We were able to see some virtual images of what the car is going to look like in detail, and we have a whole lot of B-roll. Also, if you're a Porsche fanatic, check out some of the other video that I've gotten to shoot while I'm here. Mainly, I got to drive around in a Porsche 911 Dakar, which has been fantastic, but we won't spend a lot of time talking about that because this video is all about the new second generation Macan. Now, the first generation of this car launched in 2014, and it has been a huge seller for Porsche. They've sold around 800,000 units of this car worldwide. And this new second generation, well, the big news with it is that it's all electric. And if you're not ready to transition to a full EV quite yet, don't worry, because the first generation Macan that they're selling now, that they've been selling for a while, you're still going to be able to buy that car for quite a while. They're not killing it off just yet. But this new second generation car is going to ride on a platform they call PPE, that is Premium Platform Electric. And there's going to be a few different variants of it. Let's talk first about the powertrain. Now, the most exciting variant of this car is going to be the Macan Turbo. And that's got an output of 630 horsepower, 833 pound-feet of torque, 3.1 seconds from 0 to 60. So it is a quick SUV, of course a smaller SUV as well, which helps on the performance side. And it does have a slight weight bias towards the rear of the car. About 52% of that weight is over the rear, 48% up front, which is typical of a Porsche to have a slight balance bias towards the rear. Now, if you don't go for the turbo model, if you get the standard Macan 4, you're going to go 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds with an output of 402 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. So still a very healthy figure. And with that car, you'll have a top speed off of a public road, of course, of 136 miles per hour versus 161 in the turbo. Now, that battery system and the electric architecture is an 800-volt system, kind of like it is in the Taycan, and you've got a 100 kilowatt-hour battery. 95 kilowatt hours of that is actually usable for you driving around, and your charging rate at the maximum is going to be 270 kilowatts. Now, Porsche says that with ideal conditions, you could go from 10 to 80% battery at a fast charger in as little as 21 minutes, but that is going to depend on the preconditioning of your battery, the temperature of it, and of course, what charger you're at. But we can expect in the low 20-minute range to be the best of what you'll see in ideal conditions. And as you're driving around, when you let off the throttle and move toward the brake pedal, you're going to have a maximum regen of putting power back into the battery of 240 kilowatts as you're driving, which is a pretty solid figure. Now, another cool thing about this car is that it will be optional with some rear steer. So you'll have about 5 degrees of rear steering to assist you in reducing that turning circle, even though it is a smaller vehicle. As far as dimensions go, it is 188.4 inches long, 84.7 inches wide, including the mirrors, and 63.8 inches tall. So it's not a massive SUV, but even so, you can get up to 22-inch wheels on it. So the wheels are certainly not going to be small. And there's a few numbers that they've included as well when it comes to capacities. So behind the rear seats, you'll have 18 cubic feet of cargo space with them folded up. If you fold them down, 46.5 cubic feet of cargo space. And then, of course, you'll have a small frunk that you can put some additional things in. That'll be 2.9 cubic feet of space under the hood. And another aspect of this car, as far as the interior goes, is that you'll have a 12.6-inch infotainment screen directly in front of you as the driver, and a 10.9-inch screen in the center. But you can also, on this new model, add a passenger screen that will be directly in front of them on the dashboard, and that is also a 10.9-inch screen. And our guy Andre will be very pleased to hear there is up to 4,409 pounds of towing. So it's not going to be an insane towing figure, but if you do have a small trailer, maybe a U-Haul trailer, you will have the ability to hook up to that trailer and be able to pull it some distance. The biggest thing that we're currently missing as far as specs go on this new electric Macan is the range figure. We do not yet have an EPA range figure, but it's a 100 kilowatt hour battery in a relatively compact car, so we can expect a range figure that's pretty on par with a lot of the other vehicles that are out there on the market. And if we're being honest, Porsche does tend to underestimate their range quite a bit. With that Taycan range figure, you can typically get their claimed range even if you're going 80 miles per hour down the highway at high speed. So that is most of what we know so far. If you order, and ordering is going to open up very soon, we can expect deliveries in the second half of this year. And we do also have pricing. So for the Macan 4, it'll be $78,800 starting and $105,300 for the turbo. So you are going to pay quite a premium for that turbo. And on the turbo model, the front motor is actually going to be the same, and that extra power that you'll get will come from that rear electric motor. So that is one of your primary differences there. Now, this is a new generation Macan. It's something that we'll be able to test out in Colorado, hopefully be able to take it off-road, because this is a vehicle that you should be able to do even some mild trails on, kind of like Tommy did with the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. That's a vehicle that he actually had a chance to take on some relatively difficult trails out in Colorado. And as soon as this vehicle becomes available for us to drive, we're going to do the exact same with it, as well as range testing, towing tests, performance testing, and everything else that we can think to do with it, especially because we're based out in Colorado in the mountains. It's a perfect place to be testing a vehicle off-road, and it's a great place to be testing a vehicle that is electric, because the altitude is not going to affect your power output, performance, or anything along those lines. Now, that's all for this video. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. And again, if you're a Porsche fanatic, please check out the video that I did with the 911 Dakar, because I got to slide that car sideways. It's an incredibly fun vehicle, and that video will be coming down the pipeline very soon. So lots more coming with Porsches very soon. Roman even did a video with the 911 ST, which is another spectacular Porsche. So we've got a lot to look at and a lot to look forward to with this new all-electric Macan. So are you going to go electric, or are you going to stick with a combustion engine? Let me know, and thanks for watching. We'll see you all in the next video.